So Liz, what's the advertising company you will be representing today?
I will be representing AARP.
Fabulous.
So a
That is a
great
popular
client
one.
for many of you to pursue in this case.
Great, 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 great.
And one quick comment, we know that, there's not one flavor here. There's different programs and different strategies across the country and across this group and across all the Branded Content Project media partners. So we're going to walk through what the kind of the pitch is from a Branded Content Project collection standpoint. I'm also going to call out kind of some kind of key sales tips or kind of hacks in some cases to help prepare you. I would just say, like, if this isn't exactly how you're selling in your market, we still want to share best practices, not from us, but from the members on this call, as well as from other media companies. And we'll try to call out, if you're using a different distribution channel, you're going to just use your mock-ups and your distribution channel. But ultimately, we want to hit the highlights of how to bring these programs to market. One of the things I'll say as we get started is, and I don't know if I'm going to get my hand slapped here from Mr. Peter, but at the end of the day, we definitely need to continue to focus on developing our sales force, and whatever your sales process and sales strategy and completing a needs assessment or whatever those kind of best practices are, that's great. Continue to do it. I would tell you, when we roll these programs out, there's an opportunity to go to market and go straight to, like Leonard said, straight to the client, straight to the agency, and announce these programs. So the point we're at here, where we have about to go through this deck, the way we would have gotten this meeting is we would have sent an email to every one of the target prospects that is looking to reach a 50+ audience in our community. The AARP Office of California would have responded, but that email would have sounded something like this, like, hey, we're launching a number of new branded content programs this summer. One of them is Active Aging. It's going to focus on, whole body, mind, wellness tips for a 50+ audience. We think there's a really unique sponsorship experience. We think you could be a good fit. Can you meet at this time or at that time? And they would have said, yeah, absolutely. We'd love to know. Let's do this time. And now we're at that meeting. So that's setting up where we are. Liz, thanks for the time today. I really appreciate you meeting with us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here and happy to learn more about active aging.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'll walk you through, and we only have a handful of slides. I actually have 9 total, and 2 of them are this cover slide and my thank you slide. So this will go pretty quickly. Please, by all means, jump in, ask questions. Let me know. I want to really understand if this is a good fit for you all. But I'll give you just a little bit of background before jumping in kind of the active aging details. So our brand studio, obviously you know us, and you understand that we produce really great, incredible journalism, high quality content. We've recently rolled out a number of content marketing solutions, and specifically our brand studio is really focusing on harnessing all of our experience producing content and news in this community, and now offering content marketing services to local and regional brands. And more specifically, what we're focused on doing is how do we help connect brands with their target audience by leveraging our engaged audiences. So we have a couple exciting programs, that are going into the market right now. Obviously, we rolled out, I reached out to you about active aging. I did just want to let you know, we're actually rolling out 10 programs. We're rolling out a women's wellness series, a home sweet home series. And each of these programs is really designed to engage audiences that are already on our site. When we started to plan to roll out these branded content series, we really looked at where are their readers already on our site, what is the type of content they're already engaging with, and where is an opportunity to provide more of that content, but also wrap in a content marketing capability and a sponsorship capability to connect a brand. So these are the topics and the areas that we're seeing a lot of engagement from our readers, and we are really, really confident that by providing a sponsored content series that educates our readers, but also connects them with a brand that's an authority in that space, we have some really exciting programs. Just a little bit more background on these. Each of these is designed to have one exclusive sponsor. So we're right now talking to the big hospital system about women's wellness. Kroger has actually already come on board as the exclusive sponsor for Healthy Living. And one of my peers on the other team is actually talking to the big Jiffy Lube chain here in California about sponsoring car care. So stop for a second. Liz, I know that you're going to challenge me with some questions as a customer. I did want to step outside of the role play. The reason we go into the overview of all these, even if you guys haven't rolled these out, the reason we present these is twofold, or maybe even threefold. One is that if you roll out one sponsored content series and you're talking to one client about an exclusive sponsor, they sometimes can end up feeling a little bit like a guinea pig. And that's true for the client and frankly for the account executive. So we'd like to let them know, hey, you're in good hands. The CMO at the big regional hospital has already bought women's wellness, or we're talking to them about it. And the grocery store is already down the pipe and is going to buy it too. So we create a bit of FOMO. We create a bit of like, hey, you're not going to be the only one out there and you're in good hands. The other thing is it helps us establish things that we're not going to negotiate on later. So we established these as annual programs. We established these as exclusive sponsorships. And by talking about it with the other programs, it's not as much of like a sales debate. Yeah, I can jump back into role play. Does that make sense so far, Liz?
Yeah, so this is an exclusive opportunity is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking for one partner in each category. I'm going to give you more details about the product and the program and the sponsorship experience, but these are all launching June 1st. And we are actually, like I mentioned, we have a number of sponsors already on. We have a couple that are coming on, and we still are looking for one exclusive sponsor for Active Aging. And I'll walk you through those sponsorship details and give you a live demo here in a second.
Great.
Yeah, good question. Thanks. One other comment, guys, I'll tell you, we've gone in on Home Sweet Home before with like a big HVAC client, and they've said, you know what, we have a huge focus on family. What about parenting today? So that's just one other consideration is that we've sometimes seen people not take the linear path. And they've said, the grocery store, instead of healthy living recipes, has said, well, we really want to focus on women's wellness. We have a whole dietitian group that's blogging and creating content. So just one final justification for at least presenting all of these, even if you haven't actually rolled them out or putting them on your site. Okay, so again, I reached out to you. I shared some of these details when I sent you the email. Again, thanks for making the time today. You're the expert in this category, so I'm not going to tell you all about the importance of this, growing segment of the population. I will use this slide though, just to give you a little bit of an introduction to our collection experience. So when we're rolling out all 10 of those series, they're all going to actually be embedded on our site in this kind of 4-card collection experience. So for Active Aging, you're going to see 3 cards of the latest content. We're producing weekly articles that are topical and seasonal and designed to deliver value to our readers. I'll give you a little bit more background on the content strategy on the next slide. But I just wanted to give you kind of this concept, and we'll do some live demos here in a second. But you see 3 cards of the latest Active Aging content. And then this 4th card, this is kind of like our wild card. This is our sponsor card. We are able to integrate in your article, whether you're providing that to us, whether we're creating that for you. And then also you can obviously see there's this presenting by sponsor. We are the exclusive sponsor of this program. So you'll see this collection experience when I do the live demos, but I just wanted to introduce it to you. Does that make sense, Liz? Any questions?
Yes, and I love to see our branding in that 4th card. I'd like to hear more about the content and who's writing it and what kind of articles we're looking at as well. So it sounds like
it's like we rehearsed this. Thank you. Thank you for that great question. Actually, it pivots right to the next slide. So all of our series, our team of writers, and again, just one clarification, this content does not come out of our editorial team. This is coming out of our content marketing team. However, our content marketers are all experts, have experience, have certifications in the individual areas that they're writing about. We also typically have more than one writer for each series so that we can keep our tone fresh and our voice unique. And then one last thing we do to really just kind of try to engage as much of our audience and get people into the series, engaging with the content and also engaging with our sponsor, is that all of our series have 4 pillars. So for Active Aging, you see Sharp and Focus, nutrition, staying fit, exercise tips and best practices for Active Aging, and then Active Living, so seasonal activity and wellness ideas. Stepping outside the role play, guys, for a second, it's so funny because like this is so not a sales slide. It's like content pillars and strategy. It's almost boring. This is the closer slide. When I'm meeting with a client 99% of the time on Zoom, when I'm walking through these content pillars, it's when I know I have like the fish on the line. It's when I know that they're going to buy or really strongly consider it. And there's 2 reasons for that. Typically, we will start to see head nodding because they were like, oh my goodness, like these are the same content pillars we have. The other thing that I always do before I jump on a call, I will go to the blog of the client I'm pitching to, and I'll look at what their most recent content is. If you think about, how a blog article gets approved and published on a brand site, it's got to go through every possible approval level. The president, the CEO, the CFO, the compliance officer, their CMO, like everyone has looked at it and they've all had to say, hey, this article aligns with our current, brand voice, our current brand priorities. So when I can say to Liz, like, hey, I know you guys actually just did a whole series on, staying fit at home and exercises you can do from the home. We have some content like that coming up, and I'll give you some of those examples. They start to see like, wow, we're already messaging, we've already committed to producing this type of content, engaging this audience. And if these guys are going to do it in their paper on their digital news site, this is a great fit. So we see really, really great engagement in this slide. I would not burn through this slide. Liz, on the content strategy, did I answer your question on the writers?
Yes, and I like how the pillars seem to really align with our goals at AARP. But we also like to focus on more hard-hitting topics like the coronavirus or,
Yep.
you know, fraud and mental health. So is there any way we can incorporate that into these content pillars?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point. So our mission from the content marketing side, I mentioned that, you know, this content doesn't come out of our editorial team, it comes out of our content marketing team. Our mission is to drive maximum engagement with our readers. That is the target audience of the sponsor. So when someone clicks into a Sharp and Focus, you know, the best brain apps to download to keep yourself mentally fit, when they click into that, and they're on their site, we want them to basically be waving their hands and saying, yep, I'm the target audience of AARP. So we really do, we focus on, again, we're focusing on kind of more lifestyle content, super engaging, super topical. We want readers to consume this content and be like it's what they would expect from our news site. With that being said, we're not doing big J journalism here, but we do have a really unique opportunity to actually integrate in your content. So if you're doing a whole investigative kind of series on coronavirus, we actually have a really unique way, not only for you to integrate your content into the collection, but also for you to recognize that traffic in your analytics. So like the last slide, you've actually teed me up perfectly for the next slide.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've gone pretty quick here. I actually only have 3 more slides and then that thank you slide. You know, I wanted to give you a little bit more of just kind of an example of what this is going to look like. I know it's really tough to see it on my screen, so I'm just going to go to a live demo here. You know, we have the collection, the Active Aging collection already on our site. At least I did when I loaded this like 30 minutes ago, so I will hit the refresh button. We've put the Active Aging series already on our site. We're seeing good reader engagement with it. One obvious comment, you know, we're not running your ads currently. This is what I call a live demo. So the content is here, but I've just created, my team has created a quick mock-up to show you what the sponsorship experience looks like. So someone's going to scroll down, you know, kind of middle of the homepage here. And here's this Active Aging series, 3 cards of the latest content, and you see the exclusive presented by AARP. One quick comment on viewability. This presented by branding and this 4th card, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, is all kind of ad served. So we are only going to deliver these ads when a reader actually makes it down the page. So just because someone got to the top of the homepage and they clicked away, we're not going to count that as an impression. That's not going to go into your reporting. We only count impressions where the reader actually became aware of the Active Aging series and became aware of the sponsor. And I think that's about 1/3 in view is when the ads load. So again, someone's scrolling down, they say, hey, I do want to know like why eating breakfast is so important. I've been meaning to do that for years. And they click into the article and a couple of big comments here, and you can obviously see it, but I'll just give you a quick tour. All of the content, there's up to 20 of the latest Active Aging articles are going to be able to be navigated in the right rail here. All of these articles have a complete article page takeover for our sponsor. There's leaderboard ads at the top and the bottom of the article. There's in-article CTAs. There's just a total kind of ad takeover on that. I think that's really, really powerful and cool. Again, you have the 100% in view presented by branding. So here's AARP. These all click to the, you know, to your designated landing page. But the thing that's really, really cool and that you kind of asked about a second ago is what happens when I get to your content. So the professional, the technical way to describe this is we all just went through the wormhole together. This AARP article, it's integrated into the collection and into this viewer experience. But because of the way our platform works, we're actually visiting your page right now. We are visiting the AARP AMP page of this 10 things the fully vaccinated need to know. And you'll actually see this traffic in your analytics. So not only do you get the sponsorship and the engagement with your target audience, but you're actually going to get incremental traffic and audience acquisition for your current content. What do you think about that?
I think that's amazing. And it looks really sharp. And I like that we're staying on the site.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point. And I meant to call that out, and I normally do. One of the really cool things about the way the platform works as well is that when I X out of that after I've consumed, typically our readers consume about 1.8 articles per session. That means some of them are consuming 3 articles, some of them maybe just 1, but our average is 1.8. When they close out of that viewer experience, they're back onto our site because, you know, we know they came to us for information about the community, about what's going on with, you know, the real estate or the sports or whatever it is. So we don't want to blast them out to somewhere else, but we love that we can integrate in your content and give you that incremental traffic. All right, we're going to wrap up here. I just have 2 more slides. This actually just recaps all of those ad assets and all of the takeover experience and everything I just said. The thing I'd want to work with you on, I know you guys have a really great editorial operation at AARP. Some of our other clients, you know, it's something that's a little bit clunkier on their side. So if you ever need help producing content, our team can do that for you. I'd be happy to give you a quote on that, but we'd love to either pull in existing content or either work with you to produce some custom content about AARP that we can integrate into these collections.
Wonderful, because content marketing is sort of our specialty, and we have a lot of information we'd like to get out, but it's reaching those target audiences on your site. That's important to us too.
Yeah, that's what, honestly, one of the things that's unique about local media properties, is that we can offer the content marketing, but everyone can do that, right? You can go onto Upwork and find a blog writer or something like that. But we can manage the overall strategy, develop out content calendars, develop out your brand voice, and put together a really robust calendar to accomplish your content marketing goals. But what we offer in addition to that is distribution. And oftentimes we see a lot of brands that have really, really great content, but it's hard for them to get it out other than the people already following them on Facebook or that are already going to their website because they're an existing customer. How do you get your incredible content out? And that's why, we see a lot of success partnering with a local media company like us, because we can help produce the content and we can help you with distribution to get that content in front of your target audience. Cool. So my last slide is proposal slide. The math is pretty straightforward. I'm recapping kind of all of the sponsorship elements. As I mentioned at the top of the call, we're looking for one exclusive sponsor for each one of these categories. I know that some of my team is out actually talking to some other advertisers right now about active aging. I think this is a great fit for AARP. I'd love to get you guys involved and engaged, because I just think the audience focus and the ability to pull in your content, you guys have such great content, is a great fit. But I've listed out kind of all the different assets and sponsorship elements you're going to get. The flat monthly fee is a $2,500 investment. You get 100% share of voice for the annual campaign. And then with that, you'll also get first right of refusal for next year's campaign. Any questions about the investment?
2,500 a month. I think I'll give you 10,000 a month.
Sign here.
That was just so great.
All right, guys.
What about metrics though? Because this was a share of voice sponsorship. So how do I know how many people are going to actually be clicking on this content?
That is a great question. And guys, I'll step out of the role play for a second. I oftentimes will have a like a reporting example in the appendix. You'll be surprised, I don't get asked that all that frequently, but when I do, you're going to have to determine based on your share of voice program what you want to report on. We like I'll typically say hey, we provide full reader journey KPIs. How many impressions did we get for the sponsorship? What was reader engagement? How many articles per session did our readers engage with that content, showing that connection and that kind of opt-in where they said, yep, I'm interested in this content and therefore I'm the target audience of the sponsor. And then I can even report on at what rate do people click on these banner ads in the viewer experience. I'll tell you though, if your traffic is good for your organization, but maybe not massive for a brand, you're gonna have to determine if you do want to report on impressions, or if your reporting is sending them screenshots and then just reporting on the top most engaged article. So whatever your kind of reporting methodology is, and we can help talk with you about your specific use case. I typically have an example of those reader journey KPIs in the appendix, and I'd say, hey, I actually have this in the appendix. I'll share this when I send it along afterwards. And here's some of the metrics you can report on.